In the late spring of 1973, renowned actor Anthony Hopkins was immersing himself in preparation for his next role in the highly anticipated film The Girl from Petrovka, based on George Pfeiffer's novel. Hopkins, eager to deeply understand his character, embarked on a frantic search through London's bookstores, determined to find an original copy of the book. However, every attempt was met with the same disappointment. "I'm sorry, sir, but this copy is out of stock." And so it went in every store he visited. After an exhausting and fruitless day, Hopkins boarded the subway home. In the car, he saw someone hurriedly exit, leaving behind a forgotten item on the seat beside them. Curious, Hopkins picked up the book that was face down, and upon seeing the title felt a chill run up his spine. The Girl from Petrovka. The story would already be incredible up to this point, but months later, with the film released, Hopkins had the chance to meet the author of the novel in person. During their conversation, he shared the story of how he had found a lost copy of the book. The author was taken aback and revealed that the copy belonged to him. He had lent it to a friend months earlier, who ended up losing it on the subway. Stories like this happen frequently with thousands of people all over the world. But are they mere coincidences, or are they messages from the divine to alert us to something? According to sacred scriptures, let's discover what they are and how to identify these signs in our lives. Let's look at this passage from the book of Acts, chapter 20, verse 28. Paul is bidding farewell to the elders of the church of Ephesus and encouraging them to take care of God's flock. He says, "Take care of yourselves and of all the flock in which the Holy Spirit has made you overseers, to shepherd the church of God which he purchased with his own blood." Notice he said, "The Holy Spirit has made you overseers." The Holy Spirit is a tireless protector, whom God has entrusted with our protection. He uses situations and people all the time to alert us. It is important to understand how God speaks to us in our daily lives. The Bible teaches us that the Holy Spirit is our comforter, counselor, and guide. He is always present, desiring to lead us in every decision and step we take. Often, God uses everyday events to give us signs and guidance. These coincidences are manifestations of his care and love, evidence that he is attentive to every detail of our lives. Jesus promised us in John 14:26 that the Comforter, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring to your remembrance everything I have said to you. This means that the Holy Spirit reminds us of Jesus' words and guides us on our paths. He uses events and circumstances that seem random, but are actually carefully orchestrated to keep us on the right path, protect us from dangers, and align us with God's will. In the short span of time that this video covers, we will understand how the Holy Spirit alerts us in various ways, using people, situations, and even our own thoughts and intuitions. It is crucial to be attentive and sensitive to these warnings, for they are clear demonstrations that God is actively working in our lives, guiding us toward the best path. Let's begin with the first coincidence. Warning or alert coincidence, the example of Joseph. Imagine standing before a decision that could shape your entire destiny. In the Bible, we find a powerful example of synchronicity in the story of Joseph, son of Jacob. Joseph was a young man of great promise, but was sold into slavery by his own brothers, leading him on an unexpected journey that took him to Egypt, a place of exile and unknowns. Against all odds, Joseph not only survived but thrived in Egypt, achieving the status of governor thanks to his divine wisdom and discernment. Years later, a great famine ravaged the land, forcing his brothers to travel to Egypt in search of food. They did not know that the governor they would face was the brother they had betrayed and sold so many years ago. Here the synchronicity reveals itself in an extraordinary way. Joseph, now powerful and influential, recognizes his brothers immediately, though they do not recognize him. This was not merely a casual coincidence, it was a divine alert and opportunity in action. Joseph could have chosen revenge, but instead, he opted for reconciliation. This profound synchronicity not only reunited a torn family, but also sealed the fate of a nation. By forgiving his brothers and bringing them close, Joseph not only ensured the safety of his family, but also fulfilled a greater purpose in God's plan for his people. Imagine the whirlwind of emotions Joseph must have felt upon seeing his brothers before him, completely unaware of the twist of fate that had reunited them. This story is not only a narrative of forgiveness and redemption, it is a living testimony of how synchronicities can arise in the most unexpected moments and transform lives forever. Just as Joseph, we all face crossroads in life where our decisions can have deep and lasting consequences. Being attentive to these synchronicities reminds us that there is a greater wisdom at play, guiding us through the challenges and opportunities we encounter on our path. This story of Joseph teaches us that, even in the most adverse circumstances, divine providence can weave a tapestry of events that not only sustains us, but also empowers us to fulfill our higher purpose. By recognizing and honoring these synchronicities, we can find clarity, courage, and compassion to move forward with confidence, knowing that we are aligned with a greater plan. Second coincidence, divine confirmation in the story of Gideon. Another powerful form of synchronicity is divine confirmation, as we can see in the inspiring story of Gideon. He was a humble farmer, called by God to lead the Israelites against the oppressive Midianites. Initially uncertain and seeking clarity, Gideon asked God for specific signs. In one of these decisive moments, Gideon placed a fleece on the ground overnight and asked that God cover it with dew, while the ground around it remained dry. The next morning, God honored his request, thus confirming his will through this miraculous sign. These signs not only confirmed Gideon's calling, but also strengthened his faith and determination to face the challenges ahead. Synchronicities of confirmation often appear in the crucial moments of our lives when we need validation or additional guidance to move forward. Just as Gideon, each one of us faces moments of doubt and uncertainty in our journey. These divine synchronicities are not mere coincidences. They are powerful reminders of God's care and purpose in our lives. They encourage us to trust in His guidance and give us the courage needed to move forward, even when the path ahead seems challenging. Imagine the emotion Gideon felt as he witnessed the clear fulfillment of his petitions to God. This story is not only a historical account, but a living testimony of how faith can be strengthened through synchronicities that confirm our calling and purpose in life. By reflecting on the story of Gideon, we are reminded that just as he did, we can find comfort and encouragement in the synchronicities that confirm the path we are destined to follow. They are beacons of light in moments of darkness, guiding us safely through the storms of life toward a place of peace and purpose fulfillment. Third coincidence, prophetic coincidence. In the Bible, we also find profound examples of synchronicities that transcend time and space, offering guidance and warning. One of these extraordinary accounts comes from the life of the prophet Elijah. In 1 Kings 17, Elijah emerges as a messenger of God, prophesying a drought over Israel as a consequence of the sins of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. This prophetic synchronicity was not merely a casual coincidence, it was a divine warning, a call to accountability and moral correction in turbulent times. Upon receiving God's guidance, Elijah was instructed to take refuge by the brook Cherith, where he would drink water from the brook and be fed by ravens that brought him bread and meat in the morning and evening. These events not only sustained Elijah physically during the impending drought, but also symbolized divine providence amid adversity. For Elijah, these synchronicities were not merely fortunate events, but tangible manifestations of God's care and the fulfillment of His will. The story of Elijah continues with another significant prophetic synchronicity. After the brook Cherith dried up due to the prolonged drought, God instructed Elijah to go to the city of Zarephath, where he would find a widow who would sustain him. This widow, in an act of faith, was about to prepare her last meal with the remaining flour and oil before dying of hunger with her son. However, Elijah, guided by divine direction, asked her to first make a cake for him, promising that the flour and oil would not run out until God sent rain on the land. The synchronicity here is not only in the miraculous provision of continuous food, but in the deep connection between obedience and blessing. By obeying God's guidance, both Elijah and the widow witnessed the manifestation of divine power in their daily lives. This prophetic synchronicity not only sustained Elijah and the widow during a time of scarcity, but also strengthened their faith and testified to others about God's faithfulness amid uncertainty. The story of Elijah reminds us that synchronicities can take many forms, from miraculous provision to divine guidance in crucial moments. Being open to these prophetic synchronicities not only connects us with a deeper level of spiritual understanding, but also prepares us for what is to come. They are powerful reminders that there is a higher wisdom operating in our lives, offering us direction and sustenance amid the storms of life. Fourth coincidence, manifestation. Coincidence. In the scriptures, we find a notable example of synchronicity in the story of Elijah and the drought over Israel. Elijah, a brave and faithful prophet, confronted King Ahab and Queen Jezebel for their ungodly practices, prophesying that there would be no rain for 3.5 years as a sign of divine judgment upon the nation. This prophecy was not merely a pronouncement, but a test of faith for Elijah and the people of Israel. During this period of severe drought, Elijah not only faced the consequences of his prophecy, but also experienced divine provision in a miraculous way. God led him to a widow in Zarephath, a Gentile city, whose generosity and faith were demonstrated when she fed Elijah with her last portion of flour and oil, which miraculously did not run out until the rain finally fell. This manifestation's synchronicity reveals not only the power of Elijah's faith, but also the way our choices and obedience can directly influence the circumstances around us. By remaining faithful to God's calling, Elijah witnessed not only his own divine sustenance, but also the restoration of rain over the parched land of Israel, symbolizing a new beginning and the spiritual renewal of the nation. Just as Elijah, who trusted in divine guidance in times of trial, we can learn from this story the importance of remaining steadfast in our faith and commitment to God. Manifestation synchronicities are not merely fortunate events, but tangible manifestations of God's care and faithfulness in our lives, reminding us of the transforming power of our faith and obedience in aligning our paths with His sovereign will. Fifth coincidence, opportunity coincidence. Now let's explore a synchronicity that often reveals itself as opportunity in the most crucial moments of our lives. In the Bible, we find a striking example in the story of Moses. After fleeing Egypt due to a grave incident, Moses found refuge in the land of Midian. There, while tending the flock of Jethro, a priest of the region, he witnessed something extraordinary. One day, while on Mount Horeb, Moses saw a burning bush that was not consumed by the flames. Intrigued, he decided to approach, and it was there that he had a transformative encounter with God. The voice of God echoed through the burning bush, revealing His plan for Moses, to lead the children of Israel out of slavery in Egypt. This unexpected opportunity not only provided Moses with a greater purpose in his life, but also prepared him for epic challenges and to become one of the greatest leaders in biblical history. The synchronicity of opportunity here was not merely a fortunate encounter. It was a divine calling that changed the course of history for an entire people. Like Moses, we may all find ourselves facing opportunities that seem to arise from nowhere, but are actually part of a greater plan. They challenge us to grow, to take on greater responsibilities, and to trust in divine guidance even when the path seems uncertain. By recognizing and embracing these opportunity synchronicities, we can discover a deeper purpose in our lives and experience the transforming power of divine providence. If you enjoyed this content, I ask that you subscribe to our channel and like this video. And if you have experienced one of these coincidences in your life, share it with us here in the comments. I will read your experience with care. Until the next video.